Kamal Fernandez from Kamal Fernandez Dog Training with another one of my interviews to give you some inspiration and uplift you in this challenging time that we are in. The person I'm talking to today is Chris Kerton, commonly known as, or likes to be referred to as Kurt, amongst other things, I'm sure.
Yeah,
he is a personal trainer slash fitness instructor, and also the UK's agility team fitness trainer. So he's there, the person, a coach, I should say, and he can expand on that when we talk to him, which I thought would be a great conversation to have, to give people some inspiration for the holidays about how to get fit and things that they can do to keep themselves uplifted and positive. So Kurt, thank you very much for your time.
Well, thanks for having me.
And how are you doing in these strange and surreal moments, as I should say?
I'm good, to be honest, mate. I mean, obviously, it's not what any of us wanted, but I just try to see the positives of it. To be honest, I know there aren't many, but take these times where we've got more time for ourselves to work on the things that we otherwise may not have had a chance to do. It could be worse.
Yeah, absolutely. It always could be worse. And so you're in. If people haven't guessed, Chris is Welsh, or Kurt's Welsh, and he lives in sunny Wales with his wife Amy and his son. I'm gonna not even attempt to pronounce your
Yeah, it's fine. It's Ossian.
Ossian. Okay, cool. A very Welsh name, strong Welsh there.
Okay.
So Kurt is from Wales, and what restrictions are you guys currently under?
Well, at the moment, I'm not 100% sure, because there was like an emergency thing called a couple of nights ago.
Right.
We're in lockdown for sure, but I don't know when there's an end point, or I don't know if there is a set end point, or if it's just a case of see as we go and kind of base it off the results from the hospitals or the scientists gathering data, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. So just a little bit of your background. Obviously, you compete in agility. You and Amy compete in agility. So how did that all come about? How did you get into dog training? How has it all led to where you are now then?
Do you want me to specifically talk about the dog agility or my sporting background?
So let's talk about the agility then, first off, and then we can talk about the fitness stuff.
For agility, I would say that my story isn't very unique. I obviously married Amy.
Yep.
Amy she's done her degree in canine behaviour.
Right.
And from that, we'd had 2 collies at this point already. And she enjoyed doing the training side of things. She got into obedience with them because she was learning the shaping and all that kind of thing.
Yep.
And then it was kind of like a natural progression onto agility. I mean, I guess it was same for a few people, I would guess.
Yeah.
And she loved the agility. She just found it much more enjoyable.
Yep.
I think she enjoyed it more because our dogs enjoyed it more.
Yep.
And again, I think it's more just because she found it easier to motivate them at that point.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I never ever thought I'd do agility. I'm not going to lie to you. It was that was her thing. And my thing was other things.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be running around fields chasing dogs. But we had our first son. Our only son, don't know why I said first.
There's others that you don't know about. Or...
Yeah, exactly. I give the game away a bit there, haven't I? Yeah, we had Osh, and she was kind of like, well, I'm going to go and do agility. My choice was either stay at home with Osh or go and run the dogs with her. And I kind of ran them a little bit with when she was pregnant and couldn't, just to keep them fit. I mean, I've always loved dogs. That wasn't ever the issue. It was just kind of, I used to do my own thing while she used to go off and do the dogs. But yeah, I got involved and I love it.
Really? So how long have you guys been in agility now?
For myself, I think about 6 years, and then Amy maybe 9. I'm not 100% on that. I haven't really been asked that in a while. Yeah, I would guess around that though.
Right, and so your background prior to that, obviously you're into fitness, and Chris runs his online training. I'll put a link in the chat, called Karma Fitness. And the reason how just to give you a background is Kurt reached out to me for about advice about Malinois, and he's crazily enough thinking about getting one. And he reached out to me for some advice, and as a way of saying thank you, he sort of has now been giving me some support with fitness, which obviously I'm into anyway, but some really structured workouts, one of which I've got to do a bit of torture later on. But it's been really, really great to keep me motivated in this COVID times. I think that's something that people often struggle with. So tell us a little bit about how Karma Fitness started, and what was your background in fitness then?
Oh, it's a long one. I mean, Karma Fitness as itself started about 5 years ago, maybe. Myself with fitness, I mean, I can't really remember a time where I wasn't.
Into fitness?
Um, yeah, not even just fitness, because like I consider there a difference between exercise and training. You know, if you're training for something,
Yep.
and if you're exercising, there's nothing wrong with that. But
Yep.
you're exercising to keep fit, to keep
Yep.
healthy. I just think they're two separate things.
Yep.
And myself, as long as I can remember, really, I've been the first sport I was really like training for competitive purposes was swimming.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to swim like 6 times a week,
Wow.
probably about 25K a week.
Wow.
Distances, there or thereabouts. I mean,
Yep.
not far off. And I've always just been fairly active, really, from swimming. Kind of naturally, I wasn't quite at the level to be competing at the professional level for swimming. I was decent, you know.
Right.
But we got scouted by triathlon coaches essentially and asked if we wanted to come along to the national trials for triathlon, because swimming out of the three disciplines is generally the hardest to find people to compete at a high level.
Right.
And then so from that I got into triathlon, competed at that at a good level internationally.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, same with surf lifesaving, something I've always done. Used to do the Ironman and board paddling and that kind of stuff.
Wow.
I used to kind of found a natural tendency to find the endurance events, should we say.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was Amy into fitness as well then?
No.
No, really. It's not a bag of
It's a funny story. I mean, if you ever speak to her, ask her about the first time. Because like she's always been, well, I wouldn't say she's always been fairly fit, actually. You know, you speak to her yourself. I'll let her tell her story. But yeah, definitely not something that she's naturally been into.
Right.
But she's definitely learned how to have a healthy relationship with it. Yeah, and she's fit now, definitely.
Yeah. The interesting thing about agility is that the progression, the timeline, and although I've only been in agility or dabbled in agility for a relatively short space of time in comparison to many others, even I can see how advanced it's got in the relatively short space of time and how much more professional it's become, not only in the way in which people perceive and treat their dogs like athletes, but also the handlers themselves really understanding the importance of they treat themselves and their bodies like they're athletes and getting themselves in peak performance. And as a result of that, it's seen the sport globally go I mean, some of those top level world championship, they're like sprinters basically, aren't they? I mean, they're amazing athletes in themselves. How about, what's your take on it then? And how, I mean, that's great from your point of view and obviously what you currently do now.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, it's fairly inevitable. Like when I first started, well, basically, there's more money being in agility now, isn't it? I mean, not through competition, but through training days and like online services and that kind of thing. So if there's more money involved, then that means that the standard and the quality is going to go up.
Yep.
And the way that I see it, you're not going to win world championships from being fit yourself. Just being fit yourself is not going to win it, but it's certainly going to help. It's one part of what I would consider three elements that make a successful handler partnership. You've got the dog, the dog training, and then the handler, and the fitness comes into that. So, I mean, yeah, you're not going to win a world championship from just being fit, but you're certainly not going to make it harder for you to win either. It's just going to help. If you can get there to show your dog where to go, that's going to be more beneficial than if you can't, isn't it?
Absolutely. So how did Karma Fitness come to, obviously now you offer a lot of online services and you have your online groups. How did that come to fruition, and was that something as a result of the pandemic, or had you done that prior?
Yeah, I've been doing it, like when I came into agility, so this sounds like I'm being a bit boasty, and I really don't like being like that. But like a lot of people used to say to me, "Oh, how are you just able to do that so quick?" I picked up things fairly quickly.
Right.
I think because of my just being generally athletic and always doing stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember the first year I could see things that I just thought, well, I could help that person straight away and make a big difference to them. And these are people who are like considered maybe towards the top end of the competition spectrum, should we say.
And I
helped a few people.
Yeah.
And off that, then I had people calling and asking for advice and that kind of thing. And I was helping people. And I wasn't doing it from a business point of view because I was just helping people, really. I mean, I enjoyed it. I've been qualified as a PT for years, way before I started agility.
Right.
But my plan was never to do it in agility. I was just helping my wife, essentially.
Really?
And Amy said, if you're helping so many people, you may as well actually do it properly and set up something within agility. So that's really how it came about.
That's amazing. So what were you doing before you actually started PT, or were you professionally a PT, as it were, or?
So it's gone through quite a long, I started helping people in PT 20 years ago, really.
Right.
I was doing it full time. Because of probably my naivety about who I would be training, I got a bit disillusioned with it.
Right.
Yeah, I won't go into that any further than that, really. I think I learned a lot. Like I said, I did get disillusioned with it. So I stopped that, and then I didn't stop it. I carried on doing it, but I didn't do it as my sole profession, should we say.
Yeah.
I trained to become an engineer.
Right.
But I'm sure you can relate to this in the sense that just because something is maybe better financially, it doesn't mean that you enjoy it as much. And like me, my passion was always with the coaching. So even though it wasn't my main job for the whole time, I always did it. I always did PT work. I always did coaching in gyms, that kind of thing. Always help people. And just like these since I started Karma Fitness again, I just realized how much I love it. I mean, I get such a buzz out of, it sounds a bit of a cliche, but like changing people's lives and like the way that you can like change their habits and make them feel just like a different person, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what's really interesting? You say that, Kurt, was how I'm very fortunate in that I get to do my job, which I love, and it's my passion. And clearly, coaching is your passion. And I think often I think in people say people listen to this either as a podcast or on YouTube. There's always that gamble of, do I go for the job that's going to give me a mortgage and a pension, etc., or do I follow the thing that really brings me joy? And my experiences, and having done a job that was a job and I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't my passion. My job now, it pays in so many ways beyond financial. It just gives me such a reinforcement, joy. I feel like you say, you're actually affecting people on a deeper level than just doing your job, and again, like you say, changing people's lives. And I think for me, that's such a powerful message, because it takes a bit of courage to sort of go, do you know what? I mean, obviously you had a child and you were married. There's a sense of responsibility, isn't it, to go, do you know what? I'm going to jump ship, and I'm going to, this could go really badly, but I'm going to try it and give it a go. So how did that, was it nerve-wracking, or were you confident? I mean, obviously Amy was super supportive, so that's really, really helpful.
Yeah, I mean, that was never, I was like not nervous so much, but obviously apprehensive, because like you said, I mean, my priority is my family. Always will be. And I was apprehensive from that point of view, because you don't know, do you? I mean, I'd spent time building up what I'd built up. So I was fairly sure that I could do it. I didn't just jump ship kind of thing, but there was apprehension. But for me, if I could go back, I wouldn't change anything, because it has made me have the outlook and the view that I've got. And the job satisfaction I have now, I wouldn't swap it for the world. I love it. It is cliched, and I hate saying cliched things, but like, I wouldn't swap it for the world. I love coaching people, and I love the difference I love seeing the difference in people after like even just an 8-week progression, like just the mindset, the general outlook they have on life. I mean, it does make a difference. Just being active makes a huge difference to people's quality of life, I think.
Absolutely. And I think, you make so many really powerful points then. Like, it does sound cliche, but I think the importance of, and I think certainly as a parent, I would love for Neve to find something that gives her that much joy and be able to, do it as her job. And I'm sure you're the same with Osh. And that
100%.
God, if he could find something that he was like absolutely, passionate about, and also provide a living and a lifestyle for his family, that's the ultimate success, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, I mean, moving forward for me, like I've learned from my thing, I will be banging the drum for finding something that you want to do, not something that you feel you have to. And I don't feel like I ever have to do the engineering, but obviously you learn, didn't you? As you grow up, you learn these things, and yeah, I think doing something that you enjoy doesn't feel like a job. I need to work with an enthusiasm that I definitely didn't used to have.
Yeah, so I think it's a really, really powerful message to say to people, you know, to obviously my journey was, I was a police officer and I had qualifications in that, which meant I had a backup plan. So, and when I made the decision I was going to leap ship, so to speak, or jump ship and become a professional dog trainer, I sort of, you know, put some money away. So I had a year leeway. So I thought, well, if nothing happened, if I didn't get any work, I could survive for a year. And then I went, and fortunately it all panned out okay. But I think it's about just taking a balance. If you're listening to this and you're thinking about, you know, changing your vocation, just take a little bit of time preparing yourself. And like you say, maybe starting a bit small. What I did was, whilst I was still working in the police, I had a group running. So I would do seminars. So I was starting to build up a little network of people and contacts and clients. And then once I decided to go full time, it sort of picked up and gathered the momentum from there. I think if you're thinking about doing it, especially in this current time, which is really relevant, I think a lot of people are looking at work-life balance and looking at, you know, creating more work-life balance, and probably questioning, you know, their careers, and maybe even, it might even be a case of they've had to force their hand about changing careers. Yeah. And if the choice is to do something because it pays the bills and do something that pays the bills and can give you joy, then my advice is go for that option. You know, it might be that the money might be a bit more lucrative in one aspect, but if anything that this time has shown is how precious life is, and to do things that you enjoy, really. Taking us on from that, so you obviously are now what's your official title with the GB team then?
Handler fitness coach.
Okay, cool. And how did that come about? And that must have been a real, like, you know, meeting of the stars, you know, your agility and your pre-T stuff, you know, what a great accomplishment that is.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was totally unplanned. I'm really pleased that I got it for the second time, because obviously the first time so the way it worked, I'll give you a little bit of a background. The first time that I got the role under the other management, Mark Leaker, he's fantastic for me, always very encouraging. I had the role, and I was initially shadowing the then handler fitness coach, who was Ruth. And with the plan that when Ruth stepped back, I would take over. Well, it just so happened that at the point that I was about to take over, Mark left. So a new management came into place, and obviously Greg, he wanted his own management team, which again, totally understand. But obviously it meant that I never really had the chance to do the handler fitness role when I was in charge. So I was very keen to at least interview for the role again, so that I could try and bring all the things that I had in mind forward. Because like I said, I never really had the chance the time before. So again, interviewed, went through the whole process again, and fortunate enough to get the job with Greg. And again, I'm really pleased with the team that we've got moving forwards, and really excited about what's going to happen.
So how does that work with them then? Do you give them workouts? How does it just give us a little insight into what you do with the team?
So I wouldn't say, so essentially what we do is each of the coaches have their own specific role, and each of the coaches then will deliver some material and some help towards the whole group. And kind of give guidance, just general guidance of the things that they should be looking at, the things they could be thinking about, things that could possibly help them as they move through the selection process. As the selection process moves through, the group will get smaller, and it's really up to everyone in the group whether they want some specific help. But all the coaches are just in place. So if someone identifies an area that they feel like they do want help, if it's with Canine Fitness, they've got Vicky. You know, if it's with analysis of data, then there's just, well, Tina's for that one, but like for me, for the handler fitness, and there's someone for every role. So I mean,
excellent.
The idea being that wherever you feel like you could have help to help your performance, there's someone there to help.
That's amazing. I mean, we in obedience, we have nothing like that. And it's incredible to hear the level of professionalism that's now in play with the team. So the team are starting their selection process, or their selection process, aren't they, at the moment? They're starting that process. What's your personal opinion? Are you guys going to proceed as normal with the assumption that the world champs are going to go ahead next year and be match fit, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak out of turn because I'm not sure of the long-term kind of process, but because we don't know, do we? You know, the way things are going, everything's changing almost week to week.
Yeah.
So what I can say is we're doing our best to plan for every eventuality. The Open Showcase this year has been moved online. Now, I know not everyone is happy about that, but the thing that I would say is it's better than not having an Open Showcase at all. And really that is the options we've got. It's either we do something online so that we can hope to spot some potential partnerships that could compete internationally. And is that ideal? No. But is it better than not having one at all? In my mind, it is. And
so some people that will be listening won't understand what that is. So I'll give my interpretation of the process. So every year, normally what happens with the GB selection team for agility, the agility World Championships, they obviously have people that get selected onto the team, but they also have an opportunity for people that want to show intention that they would like to be on the team, to go through the selection process and to become, I can't remember the technical term for it, where you're not an affiliate member, but you're sort of on the team, but you've got a term for it. And then those people can be sort of nurtured and groomed and taken through the process. And at such time, if they're appropriate and they're ready, they're then put on the team to compete. Is that how it works?
Yeah, you're not far on. I mean, this particular, I mean, it's not miles different from what's happened before, but there is now a process in place. So if you have international aspirations with your dog and you feel like you want to kind of get, not fast tracked, but like spotted or scouted, something like that maybe might be the right word, then the Open Showcase is a perfect opportunity for that to happen. You can enter, you get a chance to run your dog over courses that are set by international judges. And obviously, if it was in person, the GB management coaching team would be there. Greg, Matt, and everyone who's involved would then be able to. You'd have an opportunity to be seen by those. And if they think that you're showing potential as a partnership, then you'd be moved on to the next stage of the process.
And so normally that's done in person, but obviously, as you say, they've been moved online. I mean, that in itself, to be fair, that's a really innovative way of coming up with a solution to a problem. I mean, the pandemic has thrown so many challenges at people for either organizing events or prestigious events have had to be cancelled, and obviously to a degree, like teams, for example, they need to be thinking about being, again, the essence of good competing is to be prepared for all eventualities. And there is that consideration of going, we need to still prepare and act and behave like there is going to be a world championships with whatever restrictions are in place or trap whatever, you have to be thinking about that. So that's, I mean, all credit to all those involved for taking the bull by the horns and essentially carrying on and trying to move things forward.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you can either give up or you roll with the punches and do what you can. And
absolutely,
that's what we're doing. We're trying to make it work. We're doing what we can to be as prepared as we can for the eventuality that the World Cup does go on. I mean, we'd certainly want it to. And it means extra work for us, so we're not like taking the easy option by doing this online thing. But we want to do everything we can to make the GB team as close to being medal contenders as we can. And that starts at grassroots level or like beginner level. Those dogs who are eventually going to be in the GB team have to get spotted from somewhere, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. So from a more personal perspective, how is obviously you do a lot of online stuff. How has the pandemic and the restrictions affected you on a personal level from your business? And what sort of have you done to work around it? So that people could maybe able to take some of those ideas and implement into their own business?
So, again, it's the same kind of thing as what I just mentioned. I mean, I've tried to think of a way that I can be useful to people. And for me, I'm basically working with, not basically, I do work with people who are local to me as well. But I'm working with agility people, and agility in GP is spread across the whole of Great Britain. So the way that I can affect most people is by doing online. I've been doing it for 5 years, possibly more, the online stuff, but obviously when COVID hit and everyone went into lockdown, I really put emphasis on my online programming because that was really the only way I could help people. And for me, like I said, I really do believe that exercise should be a part of everyone's daily rituals, if you want to call it that, just from a mental well-being point of view as well as a physical. So
I absolutely agree. I think that the pandemic and all its idiosyncrasies and restrictions has definitely put a strain on people's mental health and well-being.
Massively.
Absolutely. I think I'm generally an optimistic person, so people that are going to make hay while the sunshine are going to have that can-do mentality. But I think there's a lot of people that it's going to push them inward, and if they're predisposed to, say, anxiety or depression or and anxiety-related mental health concerns, then it's definitely going to bring those to the fore. And I think one of the ways that definitely to counteract that, I know for me, even from my own personal view, is having a daily commitment or a regular commitment to physical exercise. And I think that's really, really been helpful for me on a personal level. And I think that just even a brisk walk and getting yourself out and about and just doing a little bit of exercise, it's going to get your endorphins going. It's going to make you feel better. And it's one of the ways in which that, has been recommended to help with mental health. From your perspective then, Chris, obviously you moved a lot of your work online. So what is it that you offer people online? Just give anybody that's interested and wants to reach out to you. What do you do? What can they get from you? How does your community work?
Well, so firstly, I agree with you that just getting out there and doing something is key. I mean, it's the hardest step when you're trying to make a change physically is the first step. It's that initial contemplation phase. Oh, I want to do it, but I don't know where to start. Just start. Just do something. Even if it is just going out there, taking a walk, like you said, get out there with your dog. It really does make a difference to the endorphins, just the general well-being. What I particularly offer, the Academy is a community. I know, again, that's just the best way to describe it, because everyone in there is kind of, I do only kind of let people in there with a good personality, good characteristics. I don't want any rotten apples, because the attitude in there is one that I am super proud of. Everyone in there is very positive. We all laugh. We try and have a bit of fun taking fitness seriously.
Absolutely.
And the one thing that I bang on to all the people all the time, and they're probably fed up with me saying it, but I think the act of achieving difficult things on a daily basis is so important. It breeds self-confidence, and just being used to going through that hardship. The other things in life they get a bit more perspective. So something that could have maybe bothered you doesn't bother you anymore, because you're used to doing difficult things, and they are actually difficult, rather than things that are perceived to be difficult that really don't mean anything. And just knowing that a group of other people are doing the same things that you're doing, that on its own is super motivational, I feel, as well. I'm really, really proud of it. I'll be honest. The group of people we got in there, top class. And I love working with everyone.
And the great thing, so I'm on that group, and one of the things I would say is that there's a real diverse mix of levels of competency and experience and ages, etc. People that are really green in their fitness journey, and people that have been doing fitness for really, really hardcore fitness people. And I think it's great to see that it isn't, whilst it's a community, it's not an elitist one where you have to be a super.
To be further from that, Kamal, honestly. I mean, like I said, I say I only let certain people in. I do, but it's got nothing to do with your fitness level.
Absolutely. That's the thing I wanted to really pick up on. It's not about, it's your positivity, it's having that can-do mentality, everybody really upbeat.
Are you going to add to the group? That's what it comes down to for me, is it is literally, I can't emphasize it enough. I'm glad that you brought that up, because it's got nothing to do with fitness levels.
Yeah.
Anyone is welcome because every session can be done by any level of fitness. There's progressions and regressions to every movement, every rep range.
Yeah.
Every session can be completed. You just got to want to do it, and you'll do it, and that's it.
And I mean, I love the mantra you have behind your back there, which is your work ethic defines you, which is great. You know, it's such a something to live by, and to, you know, and like Chris has sent me a couple of workouts, and I foolishly went, oh, this will be fine, I'll be able to do this. And then it gets to a certain point and like, it's really a mental game, really, of like pushing yourself.
I definitely push that side of things a lot more than maybe some people do, because I think the benefits carry over into everyday living a lot more.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's something for, if you're a person that's endeavoring to do a dog sport, I think working on your mental strength in a way that via exercise is really, really empowering. So if you can push yourself, like, and one of the things Chris does is he asks for, you know, times or how many sets that you did to keep your progression. And if you can periodically revisit that exercise, and you can push yourself through that a little bit more, that's going to really empower you mentally to be able to go, do you know what, I can achieve and I can do it, which I think in this time is a really, really powerful thing to affirm to yourself. Do you know what, I can do that extra set, I can shave a couple of seconds off that time. And I think exercise for me, and it's something that I've always done throughout my life, has been a medium of building that tenacity and that determination. So, I mean, all kudos to you, Chris.
Yeah, self-confidence and self-respect is worth everything. If if you continually do these things that are difficult,
yeah,
you're going to have more respect for yourself.
Yeah.
And quite literally, you can almost feel like a different person from it.
Yeah.
I remember when I used to walk courses for people who did agility and did it far longer than me,
yeah,
were far better agility trainers than I was, and they'd be falling apart walking the course just because they haven't got that self-belief. Yeah. I knew absolutely nothing about dog agility at this point, and I was walking the course thinking, well, I'm going to beat them because they're going to crumble as soon as it gets to the start line. Yeah. And it's like I said, that carryover. I was never better than them at agility, but I just had more belief in myself. Yeah. I was wrongly placed or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, just generally, it makes a difference to who you are and how you feel and your outlook. You know, I think it's massive.
Absolutely, and I think that's a great message to for people to pick up on. So, in terms of, let's just say somebody's listening to this and they are tentative or dubious about doing exercise. What is the simplest thing that they can do to start the ball rolling? Just give them like a couple of little things that they could do.
Well, like first thing you said is just get out and do something. If you really haven't done exercise in a long time and you're really thinking about it, just get out, just move, go for a walk. If you've got an exercise bike lying under the stairs, dig it out, stick some music on you like, and just cycle. Don't worry about sets, don't worry about reps. Just move. And then the next thing people always say to me is, what's the best type of exercise? I mean, if you're doing exercise to exercise and it's not training for a specific goal, the best type of exercise is the one you enjoy. It's as simple as that.
That's great.
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
The way that you're going to get better at everything is to be able to replicate things, and the way that you're going to be able to replicate things is to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to keep coming back.
Yeah, that's great advice. I think, and there's so many parallels to, I think that's something that people have to dog training. So one of the things that I hear from people at this current time is they are struggling with motivation. I think a great thing to implement is form a habit. So just form a habit of doing 5 minutes of something. So in Chris's case, it would be physical exercise. In my case, it would be 5 minutes of dog training. And you know what? Pick something that you really like to teach. So that way you just get yourself in the habit of committing yourself to 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Don't even tax yourself with doing a big, massive, I'm going to go for an hour run and do an hour training session with your dog. Just start with small things and form the habit and create the feel-good factor of wanting to do that little activity. In my case, it would be dog training. And with Chris's case, it will be a bit of physical exercise. And then allow that to grow. Once you're getting, and that reinforces your mindset and your behavior. And then you're more likely to extend that and grow that and build that.
More than that, it's about creating process-based goals rather than outcome-based. So like, what kind of carrying on from what you said there, don't focus on having a dog that can do perfect heel work. Focus on doing 3 sessions a week of working on that heel work. Your focus is on just going out there and doing it. The outcome will come from the process as long as that's all going well.
Absolutely.
Set little goals that are achievable and
Yep.
focusing on the process rather than the outcome.
Yep.
That's going to be far better for you long term.
Absolutely. And that's such a parallel with the physical exercise, isn't it, Chris? It's just about just getting those little sessions in. And the key thing for Chris, which is I think is really great, is he does really short HIIT sessions. So they're quite intense, but they don't take a million hours of your time. So the sessions can vary, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, half an hour, slightly longer depending on what, but there's a session for everybody. So and most people can allocate 20 minutes to do. People get a bit dubious about, can I do an hour and exercise a day? But 20 minutes probably is realistic. So that realistic goal means that you're going to probably want to do it because you go, okay, I can do 20 minutes. The exercises are all, again, can be on Chris's group, can be adapted and modified to the individual. So you know that it's going to be achievable, which again is part of that, process of getting success and feeling good about yourself and starting the ball rolling. And again, for me, it's a big thing. It's a part of, keeping my mental health in check and keeping myself upbeat is my commitment to regular exercise. Any final words of advice about people about this time and sort of where's the positivity? Because you're a very upbeat, optimistic person, Chris, or Kurt, I should say. Any pearls of wisdom?
I've always been really lucky with the people who I've grown up with and coached. I was never allowed to be a negative person. It just wasn't really tolerated as such. And it's definitely helped me today. The one thing I would always say is, like you said, create habits. They're so powerful. Even if your habit is just to commit to doing one thing every day, just do it. Don't think, is it an option? It's like for you guys, for the people in obedience, if you book in an obedience session with someone, that doesn't then become an option. That's a commitment. You're committed to doing that session. So why is that any different from, for my guys is like, people like, oh, I've committed to do an agility session. They're going to turn up and do the agility session. But then the thing that I'll often hear is, I didn't have time to do this, didn't have time to do that. Well, just commit to it. Make that commitment to yourself, because I can guarantee you'll never feel worse from it. I've never heard anyone who said they regretted doing a session. You always feel better for it after. And like I said, I think the benefits you're going to get long term from having that mindset of just do it and it'll be worth it. You feel so much better for it in the long run. I just want to say as well, within my group, a lot of the sessions are intense. But there are sessions that we base a lot around recovery stuff as well. And like we go through different periods. So at this point we are doing more power-based work. So there is more intensity, but like it is balanced as well. It's a balanced strength and conditioning program.
So just at a final note, I just want to extend my thanks to you for your time, Kurt, and your upbeat positivity and obviously the great work that you're doing on so many levels. If people want to reach out to Chris Kerton on Facebook, or Kurt as he likes to be called, I will share his Karma Fitness information on the details on YouTube and on the podcast, so you can reach out to him. And if you're thinking about doing some exercise, he's your man. So from me, thank you very much for your time. It's been great talking to you, hearing your insight and your part of your journey, and also giving people some ideas to implement into their own exercise regime.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
No worries. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day and take care.
See you.
Cheers. Bye.